everybody, and welcome to Sip and a Smoke. My name's Rick.
Tomas.
How you guys doing today? So, today we are smoking the Navetta by Fratello. Okay? It's very noticeable when you're there at the cigar shop with this big white wrapper. It's the only one I've seen like that. Now, please remember to always take this paper off the bottom, otherwise it's a bad day.
Don't light it on fire.
Yeah, that'd make for a bad time.
Don't try to smoke paper.
So, this cigar actually made it to number 5 on Cigar Aficionado for the new cigars of 2015, the best new cigars.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've just lit mine up. I've got a box press torpedo shape here, and so far it's actually pretty good on light up. The texture and the shape and the appearance of the cigar actually kind of reminds me of a Padron Aniversario 1964 box press in terms of the wrapper, the look of it, and the shape of the cigar. The flavor profile is a little different, of course, but so far it's actually pretty good. And we're pairing this with the Angel's Envy Kentucky Straight Bourbon, and it is a port finished bourbon. And what port finish means is that after it's been finished off as a bourbon, it's considered a legally recognized bourbon. They age it a little bit further in port barrels, and this is aged for an additional 6 months in port wine barrels. What do you think of the cigar so far?
Oh, I love these cigars. Absolutely wonderful. This is one of the more interesting cigars you're going to have. Okay? So for the first little portion right here, you're going to have this little spice to it, and it's going to be wonderful. It's actually just a little bit of spice right in the back of your throat, going to give you a little bit of a tickle. No big deal. You take a drink, perfect. Next, right here, it's actually going to change, and it's going to be a quick change, and it's going to change to a cream cigar. And so the smoke is going to be just so thick that you feel like you can actually chew on that smoke. It's wonderful.
I remember you telling me about it.
And then, right around here, it's going to change again. And it's actually going to marry the two. It's going to put the spice into the cream. So it's a more interesting cigar that I've ever had.
On the Angel's Envy, I've actually had the rum barrel finished before. This is my first time trying the port barrel finish. And a lot of people don't understand what port is. Port is a fortified wine, meaning that it is a wine product that has additional alcohol added to it to fortify it, to make it stronger. It is known for being from Portugal, and they tend to have sweeter profiles in the ruby ports. You have tawny ports. There's several different types of port. This is actually aged in ruby port barrels. A ruby port being that it is a younger port, retaining some of that ruby red color from the grapes themselves. So you're gonna have in this, you're going to have some pretty bright flavor profiles, some fruit flavors, a little bit of syrupy flavors, maybe some dark chocolates. And so I think it'll actually pair really well with this cigar, with those flavor profile that it has, that creaminess, the chocolatey, syrupy flavors.
So a little bit of history about the Navettas here. It's actually done by a gentleman named Omar de Ferris. He worked for NASA for 12 years. Navetta actually means shuttle in Italian, which is quite interesting. So because he worked for NASA for 12 years, he wanted to, he was doing his cigar blending, and he wanted to make it, kind of a tribute to his life before. So every one of these is actually named after a different space shuttle. We got mine right here, which is the 60 gauge. This is called the Enterprise. The Robusto, which is a little bit thinner, a little bit shorter than this, is called the Discovery. Tomas's here is actually called the Atlantis. And then they have the small one, which is called the Endeavor. In this, you're going to have, what is it? It's a dark, oily Ecuadorian wrapper. Ecuadorian Oscuro wrapper, actually. It's actually overaged. They age it just a little bit longer than what they do with the normal ones. And it's Dominican and Nicaraguan on the inside. So, kind of fun. You're going to find a little bit of bittersweet chocolate in here. So it's going to have a little bit of dark spice, and that's actually where your spice is going to come, and then your cream is going to be the bittersweet chocolate. I absolutely
It's a great
love these
cigar.
cigars.
And the great thing about this particular pairing, you're pairing complementary flavors where they're similar to one another. You know, pairing can be contradictory flavors, a sweet and a spicy. It can be complementary flavors where you have a little enhancing the chocolate by having two things that have chocolate taste profiles. You know, I'm getting a little bit of that kind of bitter, dark chocolate flavors. And so this particular pairing is more of a complementary flavor profile where they actually complement each other by being more similar as opposed to a contradictory pairing where they're offsetting one another by having different qualities that balance them out. And so I actually like this because it's not overwhelmingly one way. It's just, I mean, they both have such complexities in their flavor between the bourbon and the cigar. They actually are playing well together so far.
Yeah. All right, so our flavors have changed. We've gone down quite a bit, as you can see on mine.
About a third of the way down the cigar.
Yeah.
And I mean, Rick was right. I mean, these things do change. You kind of just hit like instantly. It's not like a transition. It's like all of a sudden.
It goes from having that little bit of spice that you can really feel, and then all of a sudden it's gone. You take your drink and you're like, wait a minute, where'd it go?
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually a really well constructed cigar, burning very, very straight. And like you're saying, the transitions and flavors is kind of neat to be able to identify when it's changing its taste profile.
Yeah. One of the reasons I love them.
Yeah, and it just, the pairing also changes along with it. You know, it's not just a matter of the cigar changing, but the profile of the cigar changing also changes the profile in your bourbon.
Right.
And so this is turning out to be a really good pairing as well. And I think this cigar would actually pair with a lot of things.
Oh yeah. Well, and I got to tell you, first sip of the bourbon wasn't really impressed. However, give it just a little bit of ice, give it a little bit of time in the ice, and it really picked up a lot of flavor.
That's a great thing about when you're using like a large cube ice and you're not getting the chips that are melting into your ice and they're subduing the flavors, and you're getting the water that's floating to the top. Using a large chunk block ice like what we're using allows for the flavor of the whiskey itself and the aromatics to actually come to the top. And it's opening up really well, and again, complementing the cigar very well. I would put this as a good kind of medium to full body, and for value, it's a good value.
It actually starts out at I would say a little bit over medium full, and then finishes in a full.
Yeah. On the whiskey itself, I like the rum cask finish a little bit better, just because it has a little bit of that lingering kind of rum sweetness to it on the finish.
Yeah, I actually had that with you, and I agree. I like the rum one a little bit better.
Yeah, but highly recommend the Angel Envy. In general, the whole line is a good quality bourbon. Angel's Envy pays homage to that history and the Angel's share. When a bourbon evaporates, or any kind of spirit evaporates in the barrel, they call the evaporation aspect of it the Angel's share. And so Angel's Envy plays on that, in that what stays in the barrel is the envy of the angels who didn't get that portion of the barrel because it stayed in the barrel. So they call it Angel's Envy, which I think is kind of a cool play on the history and a good play on words, and very creative. And the product itself is actually a really good product.
All right, so here we are. Final thoughts on the Navetta by Fratello. I absolutely love these cigars. The way they change is so interesting to me. The bourbon here, absolutely wonderful, goes great with this cigar. All right, so I would say easily a 9.
Yeah, when you consider quality, price point, for what it is, I would definitely put it in a high 8-9 range, because you're getting a good value on this cigar for sure. If you're able to tolerate a fuller bodied cigar, for sure.
I have the Enterprise, a 60 gauge. Honestly, I think it's a little bit big. I would much rather have the Discovery, which is a Robusto size. That I find is the perfect size. Outside of that, I have no complaints about this thing at all. The draw on it, absolutely wonderful. I would give the draw nice easy 10 because it does draw so easily on here. The taste is absolutely phenomenal. I've never had a cigar that changes and develops that much and changes that quickly either.
Yeah, there's some good complexity of flavors in this cigar. The blend, they did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely a wonderful cigar, guys. Go out, pick it up, give it a shot.
Try it out. I highly recommend both.
Yes.
Try. It's a great bourbon, great story, great marketing for sure. And the cigar, as you're saying, the draw, great draw. Give it an easy 9. Flavor complexity, easy 8-9. Value, definitely a 9 on value. It delivers for the price point for $11-12 a cigar.
Oh yeah,
at the top end. Definitely worth it for sure.
Yep. All right, guys. From us at Sip and a Smoke. Cheers.
Cheers. Enjoy.
We'll see you guys later.